Happy flipping Friday! I hope everyone's having a great day. I'm sitting over here in amazement, Chris. If that was not the best fade out that we've had all year, I mean, can we throw a one in the chat if you nailed it? Like right on the dot, 11 o'clock, song ending. Um, I don't know how much math and calculations went in you figuring out, okay, if I play these three songs precisely, it's gonna end right on the right time. But it definitely did. How you doing, brother?
I'm outstanding. How you doing today, buddy?
Man, I'm so good. I'm so good. So excited for today's call to hear from you, man. I certainly value you and um, your leadership and what you bring to the table. But you have a couple rock stars on with you today too, who I value, Sean Cochran and Ali Metzen, and got to spend time with both of them on some of your team trips and stuff like that, and really excited to hear from them. What are y'all gonna be talking about today?
Yeah, so we got a great agenda lined up for you today. We see Sean and his background. Guess that's actual background. That's not like a wallpaper that he put up. This guy is actually coming to us from a greenhouse. So that inspired the title of the call today, and really just talking about there's so much that can be gained through that growth, that growth phase in the business. And so many times, I was reading something this morning, Jacob, through in John Maxwell. He actually quoted a mentor of his. So if it's a mentor of John Maxwell, to me that's next level. But he was talking about plateaus. He's like, a lot of times people look at a plateau as a negative, and he said a plateau is actually not always a negative, especially if you're using it to assimilate to your new level. You reach that height. We've all seen companies that grow too fast, too far too fast, and they can't keep up with distribution or whatever. And so sometimes, and especially in our system, we look at plateaus as the negative, and sometimes plateaus are necessary to kind of pause, get acclimated. But the danger, and this is what his what he was sharing, is the danger is when we become complacent and we don't take risk and go to that next level. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that growth phase, and Sean's got some great insight from the greenhouse alley, kind of going through that battle of tagging those AO numbers, and we know that just getting over that hump, just it seems like you're pushing harder and harder. It's so close, it's tangible, but it still seems so far away. But we're going to be talking a little bit about that, and that's kind of the inspiration for this call today.
Man, I love that, Chris. I love that, and I love you talking about plateaus. And as you were saying that, I was thinking back to just times, over 12 years, I've had a couple plateaus to say the least, and you're right, some of them were good. Like good in the sense that like I had been growing, I had reached a new title or a new promotion. I was at a new level, right? And and but then we hung out there for just a little bit. I was still doing the right things, but I needed to grow myself. It's so true. Until you know, you don't know. But when people tell you your business will never outgrow you, I had to touch the stove on that a couple times, Chris, right? And I had to realize that I had to grow myself bigger so that I could attract more people, different people, so I could keep people. But some plateaus, you're right. It's okay to hang out there for a second, so long as you're working towards the next thing. Um, the tough plateaus are the ones where you've been hanging out in the same spot for some time now. And those are dangerous because in this business, the way that it works when you have if you're building a business and it's a volunteer army or you're just selling, either way, if you continue to hang out in the plateau, the only way you're gonna like backwards is the most likely place that you're gonna go, right? Because one of your agents are gonna have a hard day and quit, or one of your clients are going to decide they don't want the coverage anymore and give it up, which creates a chargeback, right? And then you've been at this plateau, so mentally you check out and you give up on your dreams. If you're at a plateau, yet you notice that your recruiting numbers are where they need to be. Your activity, your sales, you ain't gonna be there for long. So I would certainly listen with all ears today. Like, and if that's you, if you have felt stagnant lately, change it. Like, don't. It's not your mentor's gonna come in and save the day. Um it's you. And until I started taking extreme ownership of my business, Chris, like I went through these cycles. But once I could take extreme ownership, the good, the bad, the ugly, like, hey, if there's a problem, it's my fault. If I'm not getting results, it's my fault. Once I did that, it made this business so much easier because I didn't have to spend time looking around for someone to blame. I just had to spend time doing the things that I knew were going to create results, which, lucky for me, since I'm a simple dude, are simple. Jump on like, invest in resources, dial until, right? Until you get enough appointments where you can sit in front of 10 families a week. That that's simple. Like, I can understand that. I'm not super, super duper intelligent, but I could understand that. So I did that. And then the other thing is, if you're building a business, don't just trick yourself into feeling that you're working because you have some things to do, right? I early on, I locked myself in my office and I was there, you know, till Stacy got home from work. What did I get done? Nothing, because I was pushing paper from one side to the other. But once I took ownership and I wanted to grow and change and I wanted to get her out of her job, I started making sure that my days were full with productive things like talking to people about this business, you know? Um, and if you can do that, if you can get 10 sits a week, and if you can figure out a way to get 5 new writers in your agency direct to you in a month, you are unstoppable. I promise you, you will never fail here if you do that. So I'm excited for today, buddy. I don't want to take too much time. I want to pass it to you, man. But just grateful for you, and I can't wait to um, hear from y'all today.
Yes, sir. Excited to hear from these rock stars, and we'll get. I am assuming. I shouldn't assume, but I will assume I'm running a slideshow today.
Yes, do you have the PowerPoint?
I do. I've got it. Let me get it fired up here. All right, team. This is always my team is probably snickering behind their screens because they know this is always roll of the dice here. What comes up on my screen? All right, team. Hopefully that everybody can see that. We're good. Thumbs up.
Well, it says your screen has started screen. Oh, yeah, I got you.
All right. We're just a little slow here. All right. Well, welcome. Friday team call. Excited to see all our participants on the line here. We've got a great call lined up for you. Root to Rise, cultivating the next level of business growth. And you're going to hear from a couple of folks that are doing a phenomenal job and in the heat of the battle. So it's always great to hear those stories of perseverance and in overcoming.
Chris, man, I'm excited for today. Like I said earlier, what contract are you at now?
We're 125 chasing down that elusive 130, but it won't be elusive much longer.
That's right. So you got that 125 promotion this year, or this past year, and broke out another agency owner just to continue to um, grow great relationships inside your agency, man. Like, and that's what I love about this business is everybody can win, and you have the space inside of this master agency to do it your way. It's how I came up with Marshall. He wasn't going to do it for me, and he gave me the bandwidth to go create my own culture. Scott's not, he gives you the bandwidth to go create your own culture. And I love seeing all the different cultures we have here. But one that I certainly, when I'm with your team, that I feel is that care and connection that you played a big role in creating, man. And if you continue to do that, there's no doubt in my mind that 130 is right around the corner. So grateful for all the years that you've been here. all that we've got to learn from you. And I can't wait to hear from Allie and Sean, and got to spend, like I said, a lot of time with them at your trip. And man, their heart, Sean's heart is amazing. You know, saw him with tears in his eyes with gratitude, for this company and you and this team. And Allie is just a special person too. Her with tears in her eyes, just the courage. And one day when she gets the platform to tell her full story, the courage and commitment that girl has is impressive. Her ping pong skills might need to improve, or foosball skills, but I'll let her talk about that. So y'all, no, I won't. I beat her. I'll pass it to you now.
Thanks.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that and hey, we're all friends here, we're all family, so we can have a little bit of in-house trash talking, a little bit of family trash talking. So, but that's one of the beautiful things about this business is the relationships that you develop and the opportunity really to connect with people that are just amazing individuals in their own right. And I think that's what's so amazing about the system that our founders created is that opportunity to connect with literally people, around the country. And I think a lot of times when I talk with other business owners and they start asking me about my business, they start talking about my team. And they're like, oh yeah, so you got an office? I was like, well, no, I don't. I actually work out of my home. Oh, well, how do you connect with your team? Well, we spend a lot of time on Zoom, a lot of time on the phone. We get together, we have a great time. We get together at events and things like that. But we're coast to coast, and you just kind of see that you're what your coast. Yeah, no, I mean I've got agents from Florida to Oregon, and yeah, I mean we do business all over the United States, and I say it, having been around the system for a lot of years. But when I stop and think about that, how unique that is, that you could start as a day one agent. For those of you who are brand new here, this may be your first call tuning in. You can literally build a nationwide organization within this system, and not have to deal with having to set up a satellite offices in every major city across the country in every state. This is an opportunity for you to connect with really high quality individuals and build an amazing team, and really do so in a way where, I you mentioned both Ali and Sean, just great human beings, and so I'm able to connect with them. I don't have to try to build them or create great human beings. I just attract or find great human beings, and everybody in our team attracts and finds great human beings. And that's how it comes together. And that's really what the system is built to bring people in, that have that spirit, that have that, that desire to come in and win and be part of a family, be part of a company that is a family. And so I really wanted to highlight these folks today, and specifically where they're at in their journey, because this is a business where, if you've spent any time around it at all, and again, maybe for our new people, this is a great business, but it's challenging. Like this is a high level business. This is a high performance business. Requires a lot of focus, a lot of dedication, a lot of tenacity and persistence. But this is an opportunity for you to really plug in to something that is could take on a life of its own. But there will be a lot of challenges. So as we started out the call talking about plateaus, there are times where you feel like you are stuck in a plateau, and how do you break out? How do you get out to that next level? And I think that's why these calls are so impactful and so instructive, because we get to hear from people who are winning on a high level, who are growing, who are building businesses, who are continue to grow and expand. But you're also going to hear through that journey, they're hitting plateaus. Like, and sometimes we feel like we're hitting plateaus like every other week or every other day, maybe daily. Maybe we feel like we're stuck in a nonstop plateau, but it happens to all of us. And I think we gain lessons, we gain inspiration from being able to hear from others who are in that battle, who are in that same trench with us, who are trying to fight forward and grow that business. And so wanted to bring on, I'm going to start with Allie this morning, because Allie, with her business, just kind of, set the stage where she's at. She's a key leader. She's got a growing team. It's doing a phenomenal job. They're writing a lot of business. They keep tagging those AO numbers. Like we have a month where we're watching. It's like we're there, but then we're not. But then we're there. Then we're not. And within all of that, there's been a lot of personal struggles, and I won't get too far into this because I know Allie, this is part of her story, but this is part of the journey, and these are the things that we deal with. That you say, "Gosh, this is a tough business, and I've got a lot going on in my life," and I want you to know that you're not the only person that has a lot going on in your life. That you feel like it continues to almost fight against what you're trying to do in this business. That is part of the journey, and Allie's gone through it a lot, and so but she continues to persevere and push forward, and that is honestly the difference between those who win here and those who don't, is those who just continue taking one foot in front of the other and stepping forward. So Allie, give you an opportunity to kind of share a little bit about where you're at in your journey in this business, and love for you to bring impact for this call today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. I very much appreciate it. I will just share, we're going to talk about like some phases here. Jacob, when you played me in ping pong, I was in phase 1 and I'm in phase 3 now. So just keep that in mind. But we are
Probably
going
beat
to,
me in ping pong anyway. I think it was foosball that I won.
oh, which like that's not a sport, so it's fine. Sorry if anyone's like really big on foosball. Okay, so we're gonna do some chatting, you guys. Again, I'm Allie. I just want to thank Chris for allowing me to be on the call for his mentorship. Jacob Scott, all of my mentors, you guys. I just appreciate you. And
Well, I called Kristen, and she didn't answer. So I texted her, said,
sorry, somebody's there we go. Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna talk about my journey from key leader to AO. I am not at AO yet, but it is right around the corner. And just share with you a little bit about like why I am still here at Key Leader and what has prevented me and basically what I have done to prevent myself from getting to the next level. And our theme for the call today is horticulture because Sean's in a greenhouse, so why not? But I thought it was really fitting. So I actually turned to my good friend, ChatGPT, to help me with some of this. And I asked ChatGPT how to explain that my business started with roots that were unhealthy. And this is what ChatGPT said to me. The roots of my business were planted in unhealthy soil, driven by fear, burnout, or ego, rather than clarity, purpose, and balance. Whew. It began as a reaction, not a vision. What once looked like hustle was actually a coping mechanism. And while it grew, it didn't grow well. Ouch. I'm sure that all of my mentors are like giggling a little bit. Yeah, that's what happened. If you ever need an honest opinion on what's going wrong in your life, please turn to ChatGPT. uh, let's unpack that because it really truly is what has kept me here today. Unhealthy soil. What did that look like for me? I wanted it faster than I was willing to work for it. Can anyone relate to that? I thought that I could buy my way to success. I came into this opportunity with a little bit of a different position. I worked really hard in corporate for a long time. I had a nice 401k. I had a lot of things saved, but I also had growing credit card debt. I went all in on not working in corporate, but I didn't get completely clear about my vision here. I started 2 businesses simultaneously. That's a smart decision. Any leader will tell you it's not, and advised against that. But I started building an e-commerce business when I started at Symmetry alongside one another, also with a newborn baby at home. Just let's throw that in the mix, and a 2-year-old. I cashed out my 401k. I got my insurance license so that I could pay the bills, quite frankly, while I built that e-commerce dream. But then something happened and I caught the vision here at Symmetry, which you hear a lot of people say. So while I was building this e-commerce business, I was trying to figure out the insurance thing. It kind of looked like a pinball machine. If anyone can picture that, it was like, ting, 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 like never fully focused on what I needed to be focusing on. So I've got my newborn at home. I'm going to do this. I'm going to dial. I'm going to do what I'm told. I want to build and I want to build fast. So I started building. I started utilizing Career Builder. I started recruiting and I wanted it faster than I was willing to work for it. I spent a lot on leads because I thought if I spend a lot on leads, then some of these people, they're going to buy insurance. But I didn't put in the activity that's required to get the income that I needed to pay for those leads, otherwise known as running a bad business. So I was spending thousands of dollars a month in leads. I was writing business and I was writing on the outside. It looked like a lot of business, but not enough. So as I'm building this e-commerce business simultaneously, I'm building, again, it looked like in December of 2022, I broke out as key leader. I started in June of 2022. That's fast. But the roots were built in unhealthy soil. I wasn't putting in the work to learn what I needed to learn here to run a profitable business. So behind the scenes, what you didn't see was a whole lot of debt. A lot of debt that I was accumulating. And so something happened. My P&L statement, which I didn't even have because I was running a bad business, was just a lot of loss. There was a lot of loss there. And instead of dealing with it and getting help and calling Chris and calling JPV and talking to my mentors as much as I needed to be doing, I just pretended it wasn't happening and I kept going and I kept lying to myself on the business is going to grow. It's just going to happen. I'm investing. I'm doing the things that I need to be doing, but I really wasn't. Unhealthy soil. So I was drowning. And then I got a big chargeback. We'll save that story for another day. It's a big chargeback. I think I hold a record, Jacob. No, maybe I'm second place. I'm not sure. It's a nice chargeback. I was drowning. And as I thought I could keep going, it became very clear that I couldn't. And I wasn't communicating to my partner. In fact, I wasn't telling him the truth about any of it. And then things got real. I couldn't pay my bills. And so I had to, it was the day of my daughter's fourth birthday party. And I had to tell him that we were $100,000 in credit card debt. That's a fun conversation. Just kidding. I called my mom in tears. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. And my mom, amazing woman, she said, you're going to tell your husband, you're going to call him, you're going to deal with it, and you're going to get through it. And you're going to keep doing what you need to do to build your dreams. Because if anyone can do it, you can. So that's what I did. That's phase one. Now we move in to phase two. Thank you, ChatGPT. Driven by fear, lack of clarity, lack of balance. I'm going to go fast because I want to make sure I give Sean enough time. How do I fix this? How do I get out of this looming pile of debt? So I married a wonderful, wonderful man. And he said, well, get a job. But he also said, but you're not going to quit. You're going to get a job, but you're also going to do what you need to do to build our dreams that you promised. And you're going to do what you said you were going to do at Symmetry. He's a wonderful man. He still had belief in me. So for a while, things were super out of balance. I was running two businesses. I had a full-time job for a whole 90 days. I had kids home. I have all of the responsibilities we have as a mom so that I could get back on track. And that's where we insert the fear. Okay. Finances, we got them under control. The insurance business, it's still going. It's not going the way it needs to be. But I know what I have to do now to get things right. But now I have fear. What if I don't do it? What if I don't do the activity that I need to do? So my soil is healthier, but now I need to water it. And that fear is keeping me from putting the resources in to water it. Okay? My soil is going to dry out. So for nearly a year, I stuck at this key leader level with fairly dry soil. Also not the answer. You've got to water your soil. You've got to put the resources in required to have healthy soil. So Phase 3, that's what we are in right now. We are focused on our vision. I am focused on what I am here to do and what is my why. What do I want? Because Danny Young says, and I listen to anything Danny Young and all of the other mentors that are awesome here, I listen to them. He says, your want determines what you do, your do determines what you get. I think I butchered that, but something along those lines. So what do I want? Well, this year I've been able to spend more time with my kids than ever before. I've been more disciplined than I've been ever before. I've actually spent less on leads, but because I got better, I've produced more. That's great. That's a better P&L. I'm showing up to an accountability call with awesome people like Sean and Wendy and my sister and Kay and so many others every single morning. I'm present, I'm doing the work, and now I'm letting that fear go to put in the resources. I went to Ignite, I came back, I invested $1,500 a month in Auto Mentor. Brittany's partnering with me on that so that we can grow our business. But I know now that I can't just invest those funds. I have to do the work. I have to run a good business. So I know what it takes. But I have to stay focused because guess what? Things are still going to come into my line of vision that can distract me. My dad actually passed away 2 weeks ago, which we're not going to talk about because I'm going to get through a call without crying. So my dad passed away 2 weeks ago, and he's a big part of my why. And we'll save that story for another day because there's a whole lot to unpack here, and it's probably more than 15 minutes. But my dad was really special. And my dad never fully followed through on his dreams. And so the week my dad passed away, I also got a call from my previous employer, little dangling carrot in front of me that said, hey, you can come back, you can work for us. You're going to get like 200 to 250,000 a year. So I thought about my dad and I thought about what he never accomplished, that he had every ability to accomplish. And I said no. And the week after that, I wrote 10,000, the week of my dad's funeral. Phase 3, we're staying focused. We're following through on our vision, and we are getting to AO. Oh my gosh, Brittany, I did it without a tear. Now I'm going to pass it over to Sean. Thank you, guys.
That is, Allie, that is amazing. And I appreciate you being so open and transparent because I think, you know, we all need to hear that story. We all need to hear that journey because, you know, it again, we could say it over and over again. And you say, hey, there's going to be challenges. There's going to be things that happen. There are going to be things that you do wrong. You know, I used to joke, people probably got tired of hearing me saying it, if I got paid every time I did something wrong, I would own my own island and fly to meetings on my own private jet. Like that's part of building this business. That is part of, you know, having success is doing things wrong, learning from those mistakes, course correcting, and getting back in. And Allie, I mean, kudos to you for recognizing that, to be able to lean into that growth journey and understand, you know, where you were at and what needed to change and having the courage to do that. So just so proud of you and where you're at in your journey. And so we moved from Allie to Sean, who and I brought him on because he you know, he's a achieved agency owner, and I think this is the trap that we see a lot of people get into. They achieve agency owner, and they feel like they've reached the goal. They've reached the pinnacle. You know, you have ownership. You now have that contract from home office. This is something you now own and control. And even though the owners talk about it till they're blue in the face on every call, seems like every national call, agency owners just the start. I think we see too many times agency owners reach that point where they get there and they think, okay, I've made it. Now it's time to coast and cruise. And, you know, Sean, you know, shout out to Sean, who's been doing a deep dive into his agency and looking at what it takes to go next level. And I think, again, talking about the journey, talking about course correcting, and wanted to bring Sean on to kind of talk about, you know, his experience kind of reaching agency owner, but now realizing, hey, there's some things that we need to do as an agency to be able to continue actually owning an agency, because hey, you can't lose that thing if you don't keep you know, going to our plant agriculture, if you don't keep watering that thing, if you don't keep putting good fertilizer in, things are going to die off. So, Sean, so appreciate you coming on to share, and would love to hear your thoughts on kind of your journey and where you're at in the journey right this moment.
All right, I'm here. We were talking about, I won't go in this part because it's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about fear. I'm going to say that because you've heard me say it before. When Chris messaged me wanting to know if I'd get on, I'm like, why? Why me? Why do you want me to get on? I'm not a speaker. I'm not. I've passed up opportunities, but I'm here and I'm doing it. So let's see if I can get through this, guys. The reason I'm in a greenhouse today, the reason that I'm here, on Wednesday, Sarah Reinecke spoke for us as AOs. And when she spoke, she talked about always planting. And I'm like, you have a family greenhouse? Maybe it'd be a good spot to start from. And my mind started working about always planting and planting seeds. So if you think about here inside the greenhouse, there's a lot of work that goes into this. Brian's mom, she absolutely 75 years old, and she can outwork any man, any child that you ever saw in your life, and she's out here watering and working. If you take a seed and you put it inside and you start to grow here in the greenhouse, when we start 3 months ago. So what you're looking at right now is from 3 months ago, and there's about another month before everything is where the greenhouse opens. So the money's been going in. They've been putting all this money into the greenhouse to be able to continue to build it, waiting to be able to start to sell the plants, to be able to make money. So if you start a plant today, you put a seed inside of it. We all know this, right? You put a seed and you start. I'm not going to call Chris or Jacob tomorrow and say, there's no plant. I watered it last night. How come I don't have a plant? In a week, I'm going to come back and there might be a little bud that's just going to start, and it's going to start to come out. Again, I'm putting money into it. I'm working it, but it's not happening. You have to look at it as a whole, and that's about the business management. That's what I'm trying to be able to talk about today. So if you're actually taking the time to build your business, you can't look at it as a day. You can't look at it as a week. You have to look at it as a month. I've owned businesses before, and if you don't actually look at it as a whole, your mindset, what you're telling yourself every single day, your expectations, if you expect that you're going to start buying leads today and you're going to start your marketing, because that's what we're going to talk about, leads are your marketing for your business, you're not going to end up being able, your mind's going to be going down, it's going to be trashed. You have to look at it as a whole. What did I do for this month? And as long as you're managing and running your business. The basics 101 of business, I want to talk about that for a moment. So I'm going to go back to myself. I started my first business when I was 16 years old. It was called Chore Busters. Who are you going to call? Chore Busters. Had a little ad in the paper, but I had to pay for gas for the lawnmower. I had to pay for things. I was doing a better job of managing my business at 16 years old when my parents reached me than I have been over the last year, because I knew that I had to take my expenses and I also had to invest back into my business. I had to pay for the ad. I had to pay for the gas. Then there was a profit left. So just that all the way back to 16 years old, that's the basics of running a business. Now, let's say you want to start a business today, and it isn't this amazing business that we have, right? You have to have a business plan. You go to the bank, you go to angel investors. What are they saying to you? I need a plan. I need projections, not even goals. I need projections of what is the profit going to be for this month, for this year, so we know we're going to be able to get our money back. Are you a good investment? Symmetry, the way I've been looking at it, they give us the business plan. We don't have to create a business plan. But you have a lot of, so if you go out and start a new business today, you've got a lot of overhead. And I'm not going to go through all of them, but there's a lot of overhead, whether it's going to be employees, you've got to pay for utilities, you've got to pay for the location, you've got to pay for marketing. The one main thing you have here that I have come to realize is just the marketing. You don't have all the other overhead. It's just the marketing that you have. So you've got to put that business plan in place. But are you running it like a business? Are you running it like I was thinking about last night? Are you running it like a marathon where it's dial and sell? So getting into that, we're talking about in between the lines. So in between the lines, we end up, I have my notes down in front of me just so you know. So what do? We end up dialing. right? We dial, we text, we dial, we text, we text, we dial. Then we finally get an appointment set. We get that appointment set, but we're talking to the person and we're talking about just getting it set. But are you, while you're on the phone, are you talking about the why? Are you talking about the budget? Are you talking about any other business we've ever been in, you talk about the features and the benefits of what you're selling. Now, if someone came along today and said, hey, I've got this really nice house for $800,000, but there's no description. I'm not going to tell you it's 5-bedroom, 4-bedroom. I'm not going to tell you that it's on the ocean with a pool. It's just, here's your price, $800,000. You haven't given me the reason that I need this particular product. And that can be anything in business. So you're trying to reinforce it to make sure that you're going to actually keep that business on the books. You're not just selling it, you're figuring out a way for that business to stay in place. What was the whole point that we sold it to begin with? And again, for myself, I've been going back to the basics of running a business. If you don't already have a program for QuickBooks or whatever it may be, whatever program you're using to make sure you're profiting, are you profiting for your business? And you can profit here more quickly than you can most anywhere else as far as being able to start a business. Most businesses, you run for 3 years before you make a dime. You can start making money here in your first month if you really get on, because you don't have the overhead that you would for a normal business. So there's in between. So now we're doing the risk assessment. We're finding the why. After we have found the why and we've gone through, now we're going to actually run the appointment. We're going to sell the client. So now we've done the application. After we've done the application, what do? I hear this all the time. I've sold it. I'm done. I have a spreadsheet. Do we have a spreadsheet where we're running our business every day for 20 or 30 minutes and making sure that the business is actually, I'm following up and making sure, is there a particular form that wasn't signed? Was there an underwriter that asked a question? Are we actually running and managing our business? Because that's what we need to be doing. If you have a store, you have a schedule. Your schedule is you open the store from 9 a.m. in the morning, it's open till 8 p.m. at night. Are we actually going to work and managing the business the way that we're supposed to be managing it? That's what I'm talking about in between the lines. So we're keeping the business on the books. So talking about the 3 Ps, because this is more important than anything. Does anybody ever think about the fact that we write a sale, but if you don't place it and keep it in place? So the 3 Ps, place business equals profit and promotions. It's not just about the place business and the profit, it's also about your promotions, because the promotions here, you can come and work. You start at 80%. I don't know of any other business you can go to and start at 80%. When I first heard about it, I'm like, okay, it's got to be a scam. I mean, you're used to getting 10%, 11, 12%, 12%, whatever business you're in, but they do. You start at 80%, and in 90 days, we all know this, right? You can get to 95%. But does anybody ever use the income calculator inside HQ to figure out how much more you can be making at 95 versus 80? So at 80%, if you want $5,000 in your bank account, you need to be writing $12,904. I didn't make this up. I got it from the income calculator on HQ. So, but that includes the 25% you're going to get in month 10, 11, and 12, but I need $5,000 in my bank now. You can get to 95% in 90 days. Now you're only writing $8,686 to get to that same $5,000 deposited. Where else can you go do that? But it's about managing your business. Are we looking at it and saying, I need these numbers to get to 85, to get to 90, to get to 95. And by the way, it goes down another 2,000 if you get yourself to 100%. So you can either be selling less, or you can be writing, or you can be making more, because again, you're looking at all the pieces to the puzzle as far as your numbers and managing your business. And that's what I've been trying to focus on lately, is 100% managing my business, going back to the basics of 101 of running your business. Not just, of course, we need to be dialing, right? But we also need to be making sure that we're profiting and the business is staying on the books. And then the last thing I'll say is, are we following up? Meaning, are we calling in a week, in a month, and saying, hey, listen, just following up, making sure you don't have any questions, making the connection. My dad was in sales for many, many years. He did snail mail. That man had all handwritten, it was everything, but his repeat business with people and the referrals that he had, he didn't need new business anymore. He was almost 80 years old and still working. So it's me looking at it and saying that this is a business that I need to be managing and looking at it as a whole. So I was trying to go through it and make sure that I got through there, guys, before 12 o'clock. There's probably some other things I could have gone over, but that's pretty much everything on my notes right now.
Sean, I appreciate you sharing that mindset, and that, you can see somebody is taking on that role of ownership. And it's not just hoping and wishing the numbers there, is actually monitoring and tracking those numbers. And shout out to Sean since the beginning of the year. He's personally running an 82% issue paid rate. So he's leading from the front, and he's sharing that, and sharing that data with his team. He's talking about it. So you hear him break that down. It's exactly what he's doing with his team, and when they have those huddles, and how they can be more successful and more profitable. And this again, if you treat it as a job, it will always be a job. If you treat it as a business, you have a lot of control over your profitability, or you have a ton of control over where you can go in this business and what you can accomplish. So thank you, Sean, for sharing that. Thank you, Allie, for speaking into this team and sharing from your heart. And Jacob, appreciate the opportunity. Really honored to be able to bring these rock stars on and get them an opportunity to share with this team. And I will turn the call back over to you, my friend.
Not much I can add to it, man. It was awesome, except Sean. I don't know. You might not like it, but you'll get used to it because your shoulder's going to be tapped often, man. You did a great job every time you do. I would suggest stop saying that you don't like it because there's no way around it, man. You're really good. Your message is good, Allie. Yours too. So sorry to hear about your dad. I just found out about it as soon as you said it. I had no idea. Sorry about that, but love that your mindset through everything, and just love this team, man. Let's go out and break some records this week. Let's go celebrate next Friday and have an amazing, amazing week. Let's get past our plateau. Let's make sure that we sail past our plateau. Let's go start making a difference for our family as you help other families. So y'all take care. Chris, thanks for setting this up. Awesome. Y'all take care.